Need to get him an idea.
He has many.
Hillary, we're recording.
Thank you. Everybody's got to agree. Thank you. Jim, Tom Kratzenberg, are you guys available? We need a board meeting. We're looking at June 15th at 9:30.
I looked up and I went, oh my gosh, it's 8:30. Well, you can listen in here. I don't care.
Jim, can you hear us? Tom Kratzenberg, are you good June 15th?
Give me 1 second if you will. Minimize that.
So what do I have to do to open it?
Oh, it's right here.
Just do
Click
that?
on that and then. I don't think we can play it because I don't have licensed product on here. Open that slideshow.
I don't need to do anything, I just need to flip through the pages.
Yeah.
Can I just do that with that?
Mm-hmm.
Really, 90% of it's just talk about that.
Okay. You're all set.
Okay. So, how do you get rid of all that? Oh, go back to that screen, I know how to do it.
Go click over on the Zoom.
9:30. I'm going to wait just a couple minutes because there's only 34 of us out of 126.
There we go, that's like that. Okay, is that what's showing up there? I guess that's okay.
Not yet. Whoever's in control, we have control. All you have to do is hit share screen. Hey, I'm at the clubhouse. Come meet me in the parking lot. I'll be right there.
So let's go back to the, yeah, so that's not,
So you want to share this?
yeah,
So all you have to do is hit this,
okay,
and then it'll come up here and you'll have to, it'll say, select a file. You'll select your
okay.
file right there, and then it'll come up here, share screen with others, and you just click yes.
Okay, all right.
Are you first on the docket?
I believe I am.
Do you want me to sit tight for a minute?
Yes,
That's probably the safest thing to do.
Okay.
That would be great, Mike. Just going to give it 2 more minutes. It's 9:31. Okay, you ready at the office, Terry? Is Scott with you?
Good.
Okay, good morning, everybody. It's 9:30, 1-ish. Thanks for joining our Club 2 Town Hall. I'd like to. I hear myself twice.
She's
Yeah.
Did she have her phone on?
My phone's off. Okay. So good morning, everybody. It's 9:30. Thanks for joining our Club 2 Town Hall. I hope we get more owners. We've got 40 participants plus a couple at the office. So I've liked a little bit more representation today. I know everybody's off campus and getting ready for summer, but we've got a lot to discuss. Before we begin, I want everyone to know and join me in thanking Scott Blackburn, who's been on campus and is going back to Maine tomorrow for his work on behalf of Club 2 for the rebuild. I want to thank him for working with our prior treasurer. We've got Steve Thompson, who's still involved and doing the budgeting and, the budgeting and invoicing for our rebuild and reconstruction. And when we meet here together, you are only seeing the very tip of this huge iceberg of a project. The work that goes on, they're working with contractors, they're going to the Wednesday Walker meetings, they're working with Scott Strickland, the COA, other presidents of the clubs. And so when Scott Blackburn presents to us today, and Steve's his backup if we've got any questions on where we are on our budget, and of course, everybody wants to know what our third and we hope final assessment will be. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So I'm going to turn the meeting over to Scott Blackburn. And he's going to give us a very thorough update. Now, put your questions in the chat. Because it's a town hall, but we're not together, I think it'll be better if we try to put them in the chat. Does everybody know where their chat function is, I hope? And then we'll try to answer the questions as we go through the topic. Okay, Scott, the floor is yours.
Okay, can everybody see the slide that I put up? It's
Yes.
entitled Club 2 Rebuild. Is that clear to everybody?
It's very clear.
Okay, so I'm gonna use that as my outline to go through the projects.
Okay,
This is not a comprehensive list of all of our projects, but it's certainly the ones that I think at the moment are getting most of my attention and attention of others. And I do have a color coding system here, which has some logic behind it. The blue colored activities represent activities that are basically completed, at least the initial work. Doesn't mean that we won't have maintenance at some level in all these areas ongoing, but their initial scope of work to get us back from the hurricane in these areas is done. The couple of items in red are the ones that I would call the critical path activities right now, and until they're complete, we can't make a lot of progress on other things. So let me start at the top. The fire alarm system, basically for all 4 buildings, finally, we have occupancy. Those alarm systems have been approved and occupancy has been granted. The vendor, if you don't know, is Emergency One. Elevators, Oracle is our vendor, and at the moment, albeit every day we have a few complaints of one sort or another, which I think Oracle has done a fairly good job responding to. All our elevators are working, with the exception of 1 and 260, which is the one that got submerged in the storm and has much more damage than the others, and will be repaired later this summer. I think August timeframe is what's tentatively scheduled at the moment. Next, we're moving on to Walker Construction. They're responsible for doing a lot of the concrete work, the block work. They're putting all of the security doors and the downstairs floors, as well as the doors on our really newly constructed storage areas. So start with doors, and I think doors are probably more important than anything else because it's a step in getting these buildings more secure, because at the moment, you can just walk up any stairway on any building. And we're installing metal doors there, as well as the mechanical rooms on the first floor. Those doors, I understand, are supposed to arrive here about this week to Walker Construction to be painted and then installed. So we're expecting those doors to be completed sometime in the June timeframe here, before the end of June. Certainly, if not June, early into July. And so that's the first activity that they're focused on. The storage doors, we've ordered fiberglass doors. They're a little bit behind the metal doors. They're not as important because there's nothing in the storage areas. It's not really a security risk except for individual owners that have stuff stored there, and at the moment, nobody does. So that's what we call kind of phase 1 with Walker Construction. Phase 2 is the heavier work with the concrete block work, stucco. They also have, as a part of their scope of work, doing the gates for the fronts of the buildings. There's some other scopes of work, but those are the big ones. And right now, that block work is well underway. In our building in particular, in our club in particular, building 262, the block work is virtually done. They've probably got another day or two's worth of work to finish that up, and then you can start stuccoing that building. In 260, they have some work done. I would put it in the order of about 10 or 15%, starting on the north east corner. It's been started, and at the moment, last couple of days, nobody's been there, which is another problem I'll talk about in a second. But anyway, it's underway. The other 2 buildings have had replacement pads, which are the cement pads under the storage areas. Those have been poured, so it's ready to be worked with block, but that block work hasn't started in either 261 or 263. In general, we've been disappointed with Walker, particularly this last month. There's been issues with labor. They had intended to have several crews of people, each crew having 5 or 6 people, 4 to 6 people, and that's not happened. And we understand part of the problem has been locally here with the need for companies being audited or having to demonstrate proof of citizenship of employees has caused some sort of what I'll call a cooperative sort of not really a strike, but a work stoppage anyway by some employees, and that's affected. So we understand their employment. It does appear this week workers are starting to come back to work, but it's still not at full force. So we've had a slowdown, but I think it'll pick up and get back on track. Next subject, roof replacement. What's that?
Back to the words you and I talked, and for those that live here permanently, I think you indicated the priority schedule is to get the stairwell doors installed as a priority, so we have some sort of security.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Obviously, to do the stairwell doors, we're all set. There's nothing holding us up there. The storage doors, you got to make sure the storage units put together. The next item number 5, is the roof replacement. We reported the last time we got together that we've selected a preferred subcontractor, West Coast. We're still on that path. In fact, in less than an hour, I'm due to sit with the owner of West Coast, and the express purpose is to finalize that contract with them. I'm being joined by Club 3 in that also, so we're doing that together with them. But I expect this morning we'll have agreement on that contract and execute it, within a few days. So that is moving well. I don't see any real problems with it. What I will warn people, or I think it's good to know, is that there are all of the buildings here are getting new roofs. Club 4 hasn't finally decided, but I think they're going to as well. That means 12 roofs, and to do our buildings is about a month per roof, per building. So if they started tomorrow and it went down the whole avenue, it's gonna be a year before they're finished. Now, we're not necessarily committed to any schedule right now. I know that Club 1 is in ahead. They're gonna start literally next week, or I expect their contract to be signed before Friday this week, and they will be on the way. And what I was told yesterday, I sat in their negotiation, is that they will probably not be complete with Club 1 until sometime in September. So then there's a decision that we need to make about when do we want to start, and how's that gonna overlap with season or not. But at the moment, I think the most important thing is let's just get on the contract. We can figure that out later once the other schedules get more refined.
Right.
Wi-Fi call boxes, we've heard from Mike Ryan, what's going on there. They've been ordered, we've made deposits, they're on the way. I'm not sure exactly what the schedule is. If Mike's on, maybe he can say, but I think it's sooner than later. Painting, there's a lot of painting to be done. At a minimum, we need to paint all of the surfaces for which we're having concrete work and are having to be re-stuccoed. And we've also found some other areas that need stucco other than what might have been damaged during the storm, such as areas by way of green tile if we decide to take any down. I think there's going to be some discussion about that later. But Al Porter has been selected as our painter. We had a competition with him. He was the low bidder. So we've selected him to do that. At a minimum, we're gonna paint everything on the ground floor of every building. What we're debating on right now and leaning towards is probably painting all of the 4 buildings. We'll have that'll be discussed at the next board meeting. We've got a little more fact finding to do there. But we think there's enough that's damaged that has to be painted. And given this is the year we were supposed to paint anyway in our normal 7-year paint cycle, we might need to do the whole buildings. But anyway, that's still being reviewed and highly probable, I think. The next 2 items are blue, which actually I cheated a bit, I think here. The fire pump repair is not completed. All the parts are here. It did get scheduled to be done. They didn't show up that day. So that's not quite blue. but it will be done here in the next week or so. The standpipes are all done. That's Imperial. They do all the fire main work. So this is the system that brings the main fire into the fire water into the buildings, distributes it, and the pump that provides the pressures to all of the connections. So that work is behind us. Lights, there's been a lot of discussion about lights. We are, at the end of the day, replacing most all of the lights in our buildings. The emergency lights, which are in hallways on every floor, the ground floor and every floor above, they're also in the hallways. And there's some lights on the exterior of the building. All of those lights have been replaced now in all 4 buildings. Hallway lights are the lights that light up the walkway in the garages. And those lights, most of them on the first floor, have been damaged by salt water. And they're old and they're incandescent bulbs. We want to go to LED. We've selected a light, and we're going to replace all of those lights, not only on the first floor, but on all 7 floors. Those have been ordered, and we'll have them installed over the summer after we paint the ceiling in each of the garages, because they need to go up, obviously, in the ceiling. What I'm calling turtle lights in the garage are the orange, amber type lights that we have in there today. Many of those were damaged in the storm, and we've ordered a complete new complement of those lights. And so they're coming, I believe, in the next month or so. And we may have the COA, the maintenance guys here put them up. We may have a contractor, I'm not sure. But again, those lights can't go up until we paint that ceiling so that we ensure we have a nice, neat job there. But they are all on order, and they're due to come in shortly. And then lastly, we've got storage areas that have lights. So these are a little less important, well, you need to have light, but it's less important how great they are. Those lights are also all being replaced. Certainly the ones on the ground floor, all were damaged in the storm. So that's the story on lights. Skylights are not really a light, but they're a dome that sits over the openings in the roof. So they're really an integral part of the roof. And they do prevent water from going down through and onto the floors. So if you see wet on the floors during rainy days today, it's because there's no skylight up there. It got damaged in the storm. So we are replacing all of those that didn't get damaged in the storm. And that contract's well underway. All the parts are in manufacture. A lot of them have been done. I understand this week glass is being laminated, and delivery will align with the needs of the roofer, because those skylights can't go on until a certain phase of the roof reconstruction. Next, floor repairs. These are our, the floors that we had installed, 2021, so 2 years ago. And we had a number of problems with delamination. We had some
Call
problems
me
with
during your
cooling.
lunchtime.
We had some problems with excessive staining. And
Can you take a walk?
okay, we've got somebody talking. Can they mute themselves?
Everybody,
No.
please mute yourself. I can't tell who it is because I don't have a full screen.
Hillary, it's
Yes.
Denise.
Oh, Denise, it's
She-
Hillary. Please mute
She just
yourself.
muted. She
Thank
muted.
you. Okay. Sorry, Scott, go on.
Okay, and I'll just flip to another slide because I've got the details on the floors. I know we've communicated this previously, but just so you
Yeah,
know, we've got 10 floors that were already committed by Jim Kettis to repair. Those are the ones listed in black. I won't read them off. The ones in red are floors that we've either decided to, in addition to those 10, replace for various reasons. The 6th floor on 261, very bad stain there. It's awful. The floor is wrong. It's probably not, well, it's unlikely that it's Kettis's problem. One of our contractors, in all likelihood, or potentially an owner, spilt something on the floor there that no cleaning substance can take care of. So we're gonna redo that floor. We will have to pay for that. And then 263, second floor, outside Kathy Callis's unit, there's a puddling area there that's not insignificant. I think we may need to redo the floor. Jim Kettis has been asked, who's the owner of Al Porter's painting company, asked to confirm that he can fix it if he redoes the floor.
Okay,
I'm waiting for an answer back from him, but in all likelihood, we're gonna have to do something, if not replace that floor. So that's the plan on floors. Oh, I gotta hurry and get back to the other. Oh, okay, I get it. So floors. Garage tile, I think somebody else is gonna talk about that later in the session, so I'll skip over it. Awnings, we have awnings at every building. Most of these are the canvas awnings. Most all of them face the Gulf, the cloth awnings. And we've redesigned these things to some degree so that they're easier to remove for painting purposes than other. And we have two suppliers that are bidding on that. And we're a ways yet from deciding definitively just what they are. In our case in particular, we're anxious to get one to cover the mailbox area in building 261, because that depends on that awning to keep water off those mailboxes. The other ones in our,
Are they gonna be canvas or a different
you know,
material?
canvas. Canvas is what the plan is right now.
Okay.
The other ones I view as less critical, but it's important that we get them fixed. Trash chutes with Southern Chute, we had them in here a couple weeks ago. I did review a list of what they've done. They've done work on every building, not completed yet. I know they haven't yet done or provided us the roof stacks and the caps that go on those. They're still in fabrication. They've apparently done a lot of the internals to those chutes. We haven't yet inspected to confirm exactly what they've done and whether they've done a good job, but I know they've been here. I also know they need to come back and do some work. So it's progressing.
yeah.
Lobby redesign, I'm not gonna talk about that. Parking bumpers, these are the bumpers that your car would go up against in your parking lot, and they're located in the garage and also in the visitor parking areas. We had, I would say, something in the order of 50% or more of these things were damaged or blown away in the storm.
Wow.
And to replace them, I've recommended, unless we have any objections here, to go forward with replacements that are composite material, so they're kind of a black and yellow in terms of appearance. And a number of the other clubs have already done that, partially used. That's the story with the bumpers. Swale area and riprap, we have some riprap that we don't need. I won't go into all that story, but the important thing is that we do have some need for it around the 262 and 260 on the backside towards the mangroves, and that's looking like a pretty good place to consume some of the stuff that was what I'll call an over quantity in an initial stage of some of Walker's work. So I think we might be able to make good use of it. We need to get some quotes. We have 2 competitive quotes, and we need to get buy-in from everybody. That's an okay thing to do, including the landscape plan. But that's, I think, a good approach there. So that's what I have to report. Happy to take any questions.
Let me say thank you. I think my statement that you can see how much work and that this all takes.
I missed that, Hillary. What'd you say?
No, I hope everybody appreciates with this 18-point slide how much work has been accomplished. And thank you very much, Scott.
I might add that we have retained an individual by name of Marco Contretta, who's a local guy that has worked in the construction industry, and he's working for us essentially as an owner's rep, in part to sort of displace me when I'm gone or replace me when I'm gone, to at least check on contractors' performance. He's very familiar with a lot of these suppliers. He's familiar with the type of work that we're doing, and that's his day job for other companies as well. He's also performing the same role and has for Club 3 ever since November. So he's been on the job here at Barefoot a long time, joined with us here only in May. So he will stay with us through the summer to help me keep eyes on the project. these projects.
I've got one question from Barb wanting to know about the hallway lights that impact those bedrooms that face the hallway. Is there any way that they can be put on some kind of dimmer? Was that, it might not have been considered, but.
But, well, I will tell you that there was a lot of debate about these lights, and one of the debates is brightness, right? And everybody's got their own opinion. What we decided to do here is that we have dimmers for these lights. What I don't know and can't tell you right now, how discreet you can make the dimming. I don't know if you can dim one light and not the other lights. My guess is you're gonna have to set it for a floor, or at least for a circuit that the lights are on. But we do have the ability to control the intensity of the light. That was a requirement in our selection process.
Thank you. I've got another question, but I'll get to that. Denise said thanks. Denise suggested hoods, that the lights have some kind of hoods, those that face into our apartments. And the other question I got was, will floors be completed before the season? And I answered yes, that they would be.
Yeah, I didn't really mention that. The floor repairs, met with Jim Kettis yesterday, who's Al Porter Painting, and he confirmed that he has all the material to do these repairs now, sitting in his warehouse. So he's prepared to go almost immediately. He also has committed to us to give us at least 2 weeks' notice, and we will develop a schedule. We've got the names of the year-round residents. We want to be particularly sensitive to their needs. So we will get the schedule out to you probably within the next few days, I would expect. I don't think it'll be even a week away. And it'll be a proposed schedule. So if you're here or if you're living here and you've got any issues, please get back to me on the acceptability of that schedule. Generally speaking, it's a 2-day event to do these floors. So for 48 hours, you basically can't have access to your condo for that period of time in order to do this and do it right.
Can you take down your graphic so that we can see what's going on now? I think everybody sees it, taking pictures of it, if they need it. Let's go back to the full population.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, those were the questions. And everybody's concerned about the hallway lights into those bedrooms. I don't know what we can do, but let's put it on, think about it.
Well, I guess I would ask the question, is it a problem now?
Yes, those of us who have that bedroom, I have Denise talking about it, Barbara Blackburn's talking about it. You've got that hallway light right in front of that bedroom.
Oh, I'm connected. Okay, this is this hallway light that's right outside the bedroom.
Yeah, but most people have blinds.
It still comes through. It's just, it's a possibility. We're doing it anyhow, so. We do have a question about the assessments will be available so we can complete our 2022 taxes. Steve's on, and he continues to help us with that. Steve, do you think we'll get to that this summer? Steve Thompson.
Sorry, Hillary, I missed that. What'd you say?
We had a question, and of course we were about when we think we will be able to provide owners with a final assessment. And when,
That's a very good question. It depends on the definition of final, but I think we'll be fine tuning this thing all the way through the summer before we get, final costs and final decisions on certain things. I think we're probably in the 80, 90% range now, but that last 10% is going to be
okay.
all right. So it kind of depends on what we really want to call final and how good's close enough for for this information. So I don't know the answer to that.
Terry, we have Terry, do you have has the COA talked about a second assessment for the owners yet?
Yeah, I would, from a time frame, think that we would be very comfortable stating that by August, we should be able to give a number. Now, having said that, you need to understand that if we would give an assessment and the end of the day, that we have over-assessed, that excess money would just go into our reserves, which we will have to be reevaluating anyhow. So that's my opinion. By August, people should plan on getting the final assessment.
And that would be a good time if as we can get to 98%, that would be good for us too.
Yeah, I say August because many people have already extended their 2022 tax filings till October 15th.
Right.
So that gives you plenty of time from August to file your taxes to get things arranged.
And that was exactly the question, Terry. Thank you from SJF iPad. Thank you for your conscientiousness, everybody, and asked about the assessment for tax purposes. So with that in mind, and COA, we'll do that too. Just to note, we are looking at a Club 2 board meeting. We've got a lot on to consider, and June 15th at 9:30. I'm asking thumbs up from Jim and Tom Kratzenberg if they can make that. The three of us have already cleared it. Let me know. And we'll get plenty of notice. Okay, Jim Baumgartner's on, and Tom, I can't see you at all or hear you, so you can chat me if you can. So this is a town hall. We want to have discussion. There's 50, somebody's talking. Just make sure you mention. Can anybody tell me who that is? Who's not?
It's phone number 517-206-61.
Deanna?
Indiana.
Okay, we need everybody muted. Sorry for that. So, some of the, it's really impossible to chat. Here.
I know 40 balances, so anything that they have, we need to look all the payments.
Harry, this is. Okay, Barb, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, I just
Okay.
did.
So what we want to talk about now, get a feel from our owners. We've got we'll talk about the lobby and garage tile and the lobbies. And Barb Blackburn and who has contacted other owners in the other 3 buildings have been talking generally, and Barb's been doing a lot specifically about what the opportunity we have for our lobbies. Now, Terry stepped out.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Terry, as a preface, I want to thank you. He invited our maintenance crew to count the number of pole and complete tiles we have to do replacement. And what number did you come up with? Did they come up with, Terry? Do you remember?
We have in inventory 262 tiles that we are using as tiles need to be repaired.
Okay.
In actual counting of it, they did not do that because they, along with Marco, our man that Scott identified, has already determined that we do not have enough tiles to replace all the broken surface tiles plus the bullnose. The bullnose really are taking a lot of the tiles because of the way they have to cut those and all that. So bottom line is, in teeing this up for Barbara, is that I don't believe we have a choice of repairing our tiles. Now, on top of that, I think many of you might remember in building 263, for several years now, we have been wanting to replace those tiles because back many years ago, maybe 12 years ago, a solution was put on there in error. and it was for skidding, and it turned the lobby tiles kind of black.
Yeah.
The maintenance people have done everything they can do to try to clean those. It can't be done. So we actually have in our reserve numbers to replace that building anyway.
Okay.
So bottom line is, I don't think we have the opportunity to do any kind of repairing of our tiles. If we use all those tiles, then what the maintenance people said is that we have no spares for future repairs.
Okay. So with that in mind, Barb has been helping us, assisting us to take a look at some of our options. So Barb, the floor is yours.
Okay, ha ha. So I went to 3 different tile suppliers, and I brought back to the to 262 about 10 different tiles. They were put out each time I came back, and approximately 40 owners that have been on site have looked at these tiles, and overwhelmingly the tile from Dull Tile, which is a stepwise, it's called stepwise tile, for superior slip resistance. Let's see, I'm just going to read from notes here. It's 50% more resistant than ordinary tile. Its application is used around pools and outdoor patios, and the slip resistant is without the shoes on, so barefoot. So, when you don't have shoes on, obviously it's more slippery, and this has proven to be much better with, even without shoes. The company writes in their spec sheet that this tile is inspired by the natural elements and has a matte finish, and that the tile is subtle yet elegant and has a sand-like visuals. For ease of cleaning, I talked to Irma about it, and she loves it because it's not beveled, and so that the machines can actually clean the grout instead of having our old tile is now beveled, and so the machine can't really get into the grout to clean it. So she voted yes. Also, it's a 12 by 24 tile. So the format we have now on our floors is 16 by 16. And they don't make 16 by 16s anymore. Or there are very few of them. Really what the tile profiles are now are 12 by 12, 24 by 24, 12 by 24, and then they get larger as rectangulars. The reason the 12 by 24 tile was chosen is because we have the slope into the garages, and you can't put a wide tile on that. You'll notice that now we have 16 by 16s, and they've been cut so that they'll go down the slope. This will be less cuts because they're 12 by 12.
12 by 24.
Pardon?
12 by 24, you said.
Yeah, 12 by 24 inches. And that also Club 3 has expressed interest. They're going to retile their floors, and they've expressed interest in going with us on this buy-in so that we will get a discount on the tile. And I've already spoken to the Dull Tile rep about this, and she said that once Club 3 makes a decision, what they'll do is whoever we contract it out with will give us a new tile price. So I can give everyone, I can put this in the WhatsApp chat, and I can give you the link to the tile if you're interested. And I'll put the number on it. It's SB40. It looks white, but it's not really white. It's more on the gray side. And this is sort of a decorator's choice, a professional choice. I'm going to see if I can hold it up here. It's sort of gray, and that's how it looks like with our pink. And
Looks good.
The camera.
Can you spell Dull Tile? I'm having
Yes,
trouble.
DAL.
DAL.
TILE. And they're one of the largest manufacturers of tile in the United States. I was also told by the showroom rep that it's going to take 2 months just to make Club 2's tile. And so what they're gonna do is they'll shut down well, she suspects they'll shut down a plant, and that plant will only make our tile. So there'll be nice consistency with that, which is important with tile. And I'm hoping that Club 3 will go along with this, and I'm happy to take questions if Hillary wants me to.
Absolutely. Any
Barbara,
questions?
And if I don't have answers, I'll go get them.
Barbara, obviously, one of the things that going forward, we have to have a stock for replacements. Do they give you any kind of gauge on how much extra we need to
Well,
order?
normally it's 10%. And
Okay.
I just know that from, building a house and doing tile replacement in other houses. I know that Abbey Carpet and Tile gave us a 7% overage. So I think in the end, us, and we have 2 other quotes, and but they did not state that in their quotes. It's hard to get everybody to use the same language when you're getting quotes. I'm sure everyone knows that. Everybody's.
Well, you might want to get a hold of Mike, because we'll have a storage issue with that. And I think we probably could use our garage up at 195 that we had available to us, depending on how large the volume is.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then
there's a tile in there now.
And then we have the disposal of the 260 odd tiles that we have. I don't know if another club uses that same flooring, that they could use it, or we're gonna have to
Good point.
discuss.
Well, Club 1 is retiling their floors.
So it would
So
be
they
nice.
don't want it. So it'd be only Club 4, and I don't know what I don't know even what they have on their floors.
I think they got the same thing.
Do they? Okay, well, they might want to take that.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, well, that's a side.
We'll
So
sell
any,
it to them.
any questions, concerns? I mean, Barb, we really appreciate your efforts, especially in getting buy-in from owners of the different buildings. It's really important. So we'll have a presentation of that at the board meeting coming up. I'm a little concerned. We didn't know about the Abbey Carpet, what kind of installer, and I think Scott Blackburn was saying that one of the most important things is the quality of the installation.
Absolutely.
If Scott was going to get us somebody else, or Marco, so I don't know how we look at that. So look, the next question then is about planters. 3 of our buildings, 260, 62, and 63 have these planters, and there's discussion about eliminating them altogether in the 3 buildings that have them, to create a more open space. People say they're too big, they're too short, all kinds of concerns, but we have been talking about what it would mean to remove the planters. And 60, they're talking about, right, Steve, you want to talk about 260's lobby idea?
Or Steve, do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah, Barb, you're much more.
Okay, so as I was going around, because I counted the tiles that needed to be replaced 4 times in all those buildings, just because they had worked on the pads and they had to remove some of the tiles around the pads. But as I got to 260, I feel bad for 260, honestly. They have 2 of their walls where we came down during the storm, and their planter doesn't even have tile around it. It just, half of it's on the tile floor in the lobby, and the other half goes out basically into the mangroves. So I thought, maybe they'd like to have a wall there and they can, Club 2 can buy planters to put in front of that wall. It helps with windbreak through there for them. It makes it not look like they're just looking straight into the mangroves, and that it really creates a sense of a lobby and a gathering place where they can put benches.
Okay.
They intend to keep the step down walls, just shorten them up a little bit so that they still have access to the back. It was just an idea that I came up with and I proposed it to people in 260 and they seemed to like it. Did I cover what I needed to, Steve?
Yeah, I think that's the general
That's
idea,
sort of the general,
changing the lobby.
yeah, changing the lobby for them.
So that's a plan. That's a consideration to just remove from the 3 buildings, remove the planters, get a fresh floor. From that fresh floor, we'll have an opportunity to pick some benches, that each building can get some artwork if they want. We can get lighting, which is sort of down the road. However, note that the flooring, and Steve, will you address this? That the flooring is not in our reserve in enough money. We're talking about $200,000 approximately for the 4 buildings for the, Steve, you want to talk about that, reserves versus assessing?
Just about the floors
Yeah.
are in all
Yeah.
categories.
No, just the
Yeah.
floors and what we might or might not have.
Floors, let's see, let me find it here. Garage floor, yeah, we've been carrying in our reserve study budget for several years, replaced the garage tile floor at $146,000. It's been scheduled to be done in 2027, back on the last Forge reserve study, so we're coming upon it. So this is a project that we've got in the budget. It's just like everything else now, everything else is costing so much more than we've ever budgeted, so we're light on this also, but you know, we've got money in that.
Okay.
The way we're proposing the Club 2E and special assessment forecast for all of our members, we've kept all these projects in this special assessment versus taking dollars out of the special assessment budget and paying for them out of our reserve, but you know.
Okay.
Well, that's just the way the budget's been done so far that I've created. As we finalize, you know, the final assessment amount later this summer, you know, the board, we can make that that evaluation. Does it make sense to spend some of the reserve dollars versus the, just, you know, everybody pony up now and get all this work done and maintain a strong reserve account balance going forward. Because again, we've got Florida law has changed. It is making some mandatory reserve elements. That's law, I think, is being reviewed, but I think by 2024, we're going to have a new reserve study done that meets all these mandatory structural things that was a result of the Surfside collapse. And the other thing that's happening is everything's costing so much more now. So as we do our next reserve study, all these line items of expense that we've got in our reserves, as example, the flat roofs.
Right.
Before we had flat roofs, we've been carrying forever $121,000 to recoat our flat roofs.
Recoat.
We never forged. Nobody has ever put dollars in any reserve study for Club 2 to replace those flat roofs. Well, we're getting ready to replace the flat roofs at a cost of 1.9 million. So we're only 1.8 million short, and it's got about a 30-year life. So my guess is the next reserve study will have a $2 million line item to replace our flat roofs over the next 30 years. So my gut is our reserve budget balance forecast is going to go up just based on the new costs we're going to have to plug in for our best data we've got on all these reserve items. But we are accomplishing a lot of things, you know, like skylights was in the budget, stuff like that. So we're not going to, you know, the garage turtle lights, that was an item. So we've got items in here we're going to be completing. It's just, in my opinion, it's going to take another professional reserve study to, you know, look at the new laws, rearrange what we've done, not done. And so it's a decision the board's going to need to make is, do we leave we turned the year with a little over $1 million in our reserve account. We really haven't spent anything on reserve since the hurricane of any significance, maybe 10 grand. So every month we put about almost $40,000 into the reserve off of our quarterly dues. So we're building, probably put another couple hundred in there. We haven't got any financials, last 2 accountants to verify this. So it's a little bit of a gut guess on my part. Harry can comment on that also, but I think we're gonna end if we don't touch the reserves, come this summer, we're gonna have $1.2 million, $2 million, $3 million in reserve account.
Which we may need.
Which will be, at least we're solidly reserved if we end this.
Well, before,
Kelly?
I
Kelly?
want everybody to use the chat, and we're reading it. We don't have to read it out loud. It's available to everybody. If you have an opinion about keeping the planters, removing the planters, putting up your wall or not, if you're in 260, talk to Jana Thompson, bop her an email or to Barb, but this is a town hall. Let's hear how people feel about it. Terry, I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
I just want to go back to the tile floor and the estimate. If Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you have already plugged in $275,000 as an estimate to replace all the tile floors in all the lobbies in our Hurricane Ian estimate.
No, Terry.
Yeah, I've got 200,000 for the garage floor, 75,000 for the green tile.
And I want to address
So makes
that.
up that 275 on that.
We should, and I think another line item would be a great idea. Let's just, you put your comments. Somebody asked, do we have a reserve for the 263 floor? Are these reserves?
That was all part of the 146,000 for Augur.
Right.
That's for all 4 floors. Okay.
Now, originally that was just for 263.
Right.
Originally, it's just kind of meandered over the years. And kept being kicked down, the can kept being kicked, but it was originally just for 263.
Understand.
Okay, I don't know the history of that. I mean, there's no other money in the reserves for any other building garage floors then. So we're either way over reserved for 263 or way under for the others.
I sort of want to keep this a little bit, what are they called? 30,000 feet. Just, type in your pro con. We'd like to hear from you. I want to talk about, it's a good time to talk about the tile on the facades of the building. Scott Strickland called a president's meeting. It was a couple of weeks ago, where he proposed removing the front tile from all of the 12 buildings, which are really different in each building. The reason some clubs are missing tiles, but importantly to Scott, is that some tiles, the grout's gone, they're falling off away from the building, and they're a potential source of water intrusion into our buildings. And based upon that, he wants all the clubs, and that's why he had the presidents. And it was really, it was unanimous. I mean, there's only 4 of us plus the COA to remove the tiles. And to do that, we know that we need, if the tiles are removed, Jamie Lancia explained to us clearly that we were not going to be able to match the current stucco in the building. So Walker Construction is to have on our campus soon, there a blended some stucco, what would you call it?
Mock-up.
Thank you. Different stucco mock-ups are either going to blend in, or there'll be some kind of pattern or something. And I asked Terry Walker, who's on campus, and Kathy Callis, when it comes, anybody on campus, to please take a look at them and give us their opinion. But it's clear that nobody wanted to remove the tiles, the accent tiles that go up the front and sides of the buildings. We're just talking about the facades. That means an opportunity to take a look at painting either the same pink, a different pink, a contrasting pink, or bring the beige color, the sand color that we have, and bring that in. Some people said, let's make it, for the larger buildings, let's increase the diameter of the gateway, the entrance, and make it look larger. So, but nobody wants to talk about that. Yeah. The big question is, if we start to repaint the buildings, who's going to remove the tiles, who's going to put the stucco in? And is it the same kind of, Scott, you can speak to this, please? It's the same kind of lift that the workers will need to remove the tile and create the stucco as they do for painting. So all of that, none of that has been determined yet, and we'll keep you posted, but just a very few comments. Thank you, Peter Ferris. Thank you, S. Mitchell. There's a request, and I think we can honor it. There's an exercise club every Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday mornings at 9:30. And here I am at Tuesday at 9:30 interrupting exercise. Can we move that Thursday, the 16th to 5 o'clock?
Can we do earlier than 5, Hillary?
You tell me.
Anytime, in the afternoon, but 5 o'clock, seems to be encroaching
day.
on dinner.
So 1 o'clock?
Great,
This is our board meeting, right?
yeah.
And it's Thursday. I made it Thursday, not Wednesday, in case Kettis gets us the bid, Terry, because I heard you say that. Jim, are you okay at 1 o'clock? He's not happy.
Who's not happy?
Who's
I don't
that?
know why you can't talk to me.
Yeah, let me unmute. I don't have a calendar in front of me and I'm not where I can reach it now. I'll get back to you.
Denise said we could do it 10:30 in the morning, 10:30, they're over, the exercise is over. Is that better?
For which day?
The same day, the Thursday. Let's do it at 10:30 and we don't
Yeah,
interrupt.
good.
Okay,
good.
10:30 it is.
That's fine. That I can do.
Denise, thank you so much. If you aren't in our book club, you should join. Denise is fabulous. Okay, I'm going to speak again. Club 2, Club 1, and Club 3 have experienced a scam and a fraud. It involved our payments to Oracle Elevator Company. Scott Strickland, Jan Royal, and I are continuing to be in contact with appropriate people. The amount that was diverted from Oracle to this fraudster was $75,000 from Club 2. We suffered the worst amount. We had the most elevator damage. The total for the 3 clubs is it's like $157,000. And just so you know that all the appropriate parties, the police have been notified. Michelle did an application to the FBI. These were all electronic payments from our accountant, MB, to Oracle. They just didn't go to Oracle. The bank, our bank, which is AMB, American Momentum, tried to reverse the transaction, but the money was already out of the third-party bank. So we're pursuing it. We'll keep you posted. If you have any questions, I'm just trying to keep, let me know on the chat. And of course, we still owe Oracle the outstanding invoices. We have Barb, Dave Sumner has applied to our insurance company for this. However, it's really not our insurance that's going to be covering it. And it's not the bank that's we hope it's going to be voluntary repayment. Jim is asking, so let me stick with the insurance questions. I have a question about the roof. Some units do AC later this summer. And we're going to let Scott address that when he comes. But do you have any other questions about the fraud? I'm sure this isn't applicable to the 41 people now on this call, but if you have not paid your second quarter assessment or maintenance assessment, all checks, I can't hear Terry, whoever's talking in the office. All checks are to be mailed to the Barefoot office, not to MD, not to Frankly Coastal, mail your checks to the office. And they're payable to Barefoot Beach Club 2. And we suggest you use a gel pen. We've had 2 instances where checks have been washed. The payee's name has been, checks have been taken out of the mail, out of the post office. Nobody knows. The payee has been changed and the checks cashed. So please look at the back, use a gel pen. Make sure that your check, if you is in a piece of paper so it doesn't show through as a check, and send it to the office. No, Jim, we do not have a timeline for building 263 roof, but when the contract is signed and the schedule is set, there's going to be a notice sent out to all of our owners to purchase if they want new air conditioners at the same time. And we do have a quote on the amount and size of the units and the cost, but we're not sending that out quite yet. Harry, you want to address, so I see no other questions about the fraud. Please be careful, please be careful. There's phishing, washing, it's just. Terry, can you speak to with how GSI is doing in our transition and what's going on, please? And then if we would also talk about the cleaning staff too.
Yes. Well, we welcomed Tracy Massey on June 1 to our staff. She is a guest services employee, and she will be in this office full-time with Deanna as well as Michelle. Her expertise is accounting, and so she and I and Donna Dawson at the guest services are meeting with some regularity to try to get a handle on banking, where the money is, getting it transferred all to First Horizon, and also in working with Meyer in getting our year-end or our month-end statements for February, March, and April, so that that can be turned over to guest services to begin statements through them going forward. Donna has talked to Meyer, and I believe they have agreed that within a couple of weeks, give or take, we should have those statements. So that's working in the right direction. As far as money is concerned, last Friday, we cleared out our Truist bank account for Club 2 and picked up a check for $75,000, which is deposited into First Horizon. So that's just step by step getting money transferred from all the other banks. American Momentum is the next bank that we're working to try to get that all transferred over into First Horizon. So it's not moving as quickly as I think anybody would like, but we do have a plan, and it seems to be working with the coordination of everyone. I can't even tell you right now the total dollars that we have, because there's in transit items and all that, but we are paying our bills weekly, and we're getting a system. We're putting together a system. Scott Blackburn and I are working very closely together because of the hurricane and all that, to try to get a streamlined system for authorizing work to be done and then approving invoices. So it's very seamless and should be working without any hiccups. So we're going in the right direction. Let's talk about the cleaning staff. Just to give a little history, Club 2 has been blessed 50% anyhow, with 2 of our buildings having, we think, the best cleaner in Barefoot. And we're very proud of her and all that. Unfortunately, in Club 2, they have struggled over these last few years having different kinds of third-party cleaners. And I think those of you in those buildings might attest, if you compare your substandard in your cleaning to what we have in 260 and 262. We went so far as in our budgets 3 years ago of changing that method of cleaning back to an in-house cleaner. Unfortunately, during that period of time, our budget actually had it in there, but we were not able to hire anybody because of the hiring situation. the thing that came along when guest services was hired, that was one of the questions we asked them. You people are a hiring agency, basically, and we are having trouble getting cleaners. They say we are having no problems getting them, so they could assist us in doing that. So I talked to Hillary and I said, we are in the process of, I don't know whether we've actually signed the contract for the summer or not, Hillary, I don't know. But
I
in
think
any
we
event, going forward, sooner rather than later, working with guest services to try and so that come October at the latest anyhow, that we hire from, with help of guest services to get an in-house cleaner for building 261 and 263. Again, last week at our COA board meeting, I asked Kurt Andre, who is our direct contact at guest services, I said, we talked early about, are you having trouble getting cleaners? And he confirmed that they are not having trouble. So again, I know the staff here at the office is very busy and all that. So I told Hillary that there's an owner in 263 that is very interested in this as well as I am. And we would take on this connection if so, if
Okay,
our
well,
board wants to.
okay. So the 10,000 feet view of this is that it would be preferable going forward after this summer to look for an employee, and it would be a GSI employee, as all of them are, but we would not have outside contracts with JanPro.
But I would encourage us to not consider cutting hours for 261 and 263 during the summer. We have full-time residents here. And I think that we just be cautious. We should not try to save money by cutting the hours.
And we have construction, painting, roofers going to go. I just don't know. I asked Kathy, people in 263 and 261. Well, there's no full-time in 261, but there is in 263. And I've asked them to keep an eye on it, and they should be calling me and calling Mike Zwilling and Michelle if this part-time doesn't work. But there are no full-time owners, residents in 261.
We had one last year, did they not?
We don't. And I know that I've been working with Dee because of the floors. 260, there's nobody, we have some floors to repair, but nobody there. I skipped something that was up. Thank you, Terry. The other thing that is club-based is an idea that was brought to Barb by our maintenance staff, and I'll let Barb introduce it.
Well, when I first got there in November, I asked Dave what Club 2 could do, or actually all the clubs could do to help make their job easier. Because they had damage to some of their, I'll call them pads, but they're not really, they don't have a concrete pad, but they have a brick pad for their carts and for a place to wash out the dumpster every week, because the dumpsters, as you know, get pretty rancid smelling. And so we went building by building, and some buildings already had them. 260 still has a pad in existence. I'm looking at it now. Theirs, I think, is concrete, and it's cracked. So I'm not quite sure what would have to be done to this. One item that I just thought of was that to do the washout, so when was our trash pickup? Because I'm so confused. I can't remember. Is it Tuesday, Friday? Or was it
Yes, and during season.
Okay, thank you, Terry. So they would be able to wheel their dumpster over there and wash it out. The other the other thing that they could use it for is a place to park their golf carts, because they feel they're always blocking people when they're there for quite a while, and they'd like a place they can unload what they need for the day by the ramp, and then they can go and park their cart there so that people don't get blocked in by the carts.
Barb, is this is right out, it's not inside the garage, guys. This would be.
No, these are all outside the garages. So this doesn't, and this doesn't take anybody's parking spots away. It just means, we have Terry, I don't know how many bricks we have left over. I picked up a couple pallets of them, which is probably enough to do, at least one pad. I know bricks run somewhere around 50 cents a piece, but, I think there will be.
Is this a water project or a landscaping project? Who would facilitate
Well,
it?
I think this could be a Santiago Dave project. Because they have built them before. They built them in Club 4, and the one that didn't wash away had just a little bit of concrete around it to keep it in place. Terry, did you have some feedback on that? I saw.
Actually, I do. I would suggest, before you go much further with this, that if you haven't talk to Mike. I think he was not aware of this, as neither was Scott Strickland. And I think perhaps that might be a better direction to go. I know in 262, your area would be cut somewhat because there are landscaping that's going to go on the south end of the parking area where I think you were going to have these bricks. So I don't know that it would be conducive to have it there, but I guess I would have you talk with Mike.
Right. Well, I have sent it both to Mike and Scott Strickland and all the club presidents. So,
Everybody's aware of it, and we talked about it.
Mike told me he was not aware of it, quite frankly.
well, he might have forgotten. I talked to him about it in November, but
Okay.
in any case, I think that, as far as landscaping, we could give up maybe a small hedge so that they would have a place to do this.
Have they talked about a size that they would,
Yeah, and I think we have to leave that up to, Dave and Santiago, the size they need. It's just a place to park the car. It's not going to be very large, and a place to do a washout. You will have to have a spigot in that area. I know that our building has it, a spigot down at that end, the south end. I'm not sure about the other buildings. I neglected to look into that.
we have a couple questions regarding mailboxes and for 260 and 61, we have them, they're in storage. Pete Russo is leaving. He was our head of mailboxes. He's left Terry in charge now. Terry, I think he passed the baton to you on the mailboxes for us, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And before.
Thank you for taking it.
We walked through 260 and 261, and we have the location of where the boxes are going to go. But now we're waiting until the walls get built. And then once the walls get built, they have to be stuccoed and painted. And it's just a matter of time.
Okay. Thank you for that, Terry. And thanks for taking the baton from Pete on that. We appreciate it. I have one more topic that I want to bring up to the town hall people here. And Jim Baumgartner, is taking care of all of our insurance for the hurricane. Will you address our new project, please?
Sure. Thanks, Hillary. As everybody probably knows from looking at Steve Thompson's financial statements, we've got something in the order of magnitude of $400,000 for flood insurance payment and about $1 million for wind. At this point in time, we're looking at additional dollars in a number of areas, but it's sort of clear to the insurance guy. There's one insurance person for each building and then one for the COA, and then Tom Keyser has been good enough to oversee the entire thing. But we've been approached by a group by the name of Strategic Claims Consultants, and their presentation was that they can supplement the dollars that we have received in a way better than we are capable of doing on our own. And so what we'll be doing is negotiating a contract, individual contracts with each and every one of the entities that each of the clubs and the COA. We will continue to receive 100% of the dollars that we've already received. So they don't get a cut of that. We will we anticipate carving out the additional cost to the roofs because that's sort of a straightforward submission to the desk adjuster. And that, I think, is somewhere around $147,000. So we don't want them to participate in that. And we have, at this point in time, Scott Blackburn and I, through a walk around, determined that there's stucco repair on the Bayside buildings, 260 and 262, that the adjuster did not identify, that would increase the amount of the award on flood by about $115,000. We think that's an easy submission as well, and so we would not want these outside adjusters to participate in that. However, I think they feel as though there's opportunity beyond those things. And so what we will do is enter into an agreement that any supplemental dollars that they are able to secure for us, that we would pay them 8% of those dollars. That's 2% better than the marketplace. So I think Keyser and the guys did a great job in negotiating that. Dave Sumner was obviously involved in that. The other thing they will do on our behalf is they will handle any owner claims. That's something that it's not a forte of ours. And they will be able to better help owners who have claims determine whether there is any merit to them, whether the owner's on the hook for it themselves, or whether the club has to pay in part for them. So any owners that are in process now will be turned over, and I will work diligently to make sure that there's a quick contact to you, the owners who have talked to me, so that you have a name and a phone number that you'll be able to talk to. I would guess we'll be able to, Hillary and I are planning on having a negotiation discussion and a contract signing probably within the next 10 days to 2 weeks.
Okay. I don't see any comments. Denise DiBernardi just wants to thank everyone who's on this call for their efforts. She thinks it's important that I thank you every meeting, and I think I do. And if I haven't,
Right.
Hillary, I have a comment at the proper time. You're muted, Hillary.
you have the floor.
Thank you. I'd just like to remind everybody in Club 2 that I sit on the COA board as the representative of Club 2. And I think sometimes you lose sight of that relationship. And so I want you to know that we, Club 2, represent about 36% of the total doors in our community. Obviously, my vote on the COA is only one of 5, so we don't get represented by the number of units. But I would like to make sure that everybody realizes that I am the conduit for issues at the COA level. And so I want to be sure that I'm representing and voting when I vote on the behalf of you, our owners, and not my views necessarily. So keep that in mind, and as issues come up, please keep me informed of how you feel about certain issues, and I'll take that into consideration as I vote on the COA board.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a good reminder. If there are no other comments or questions, and all the thank yous have been made, it's 10:47. We did this in an hour and 15 minutes. I'll say thank you and see you at the board meeting, which is Thursday, June 15th, and we're going to do it at 10:30. I will get that notice out to the office. I'm circulating an agenda with the board.
Thank you, Hillary.
Thank you. Terry, thanks for being at the office for us. It really is helpful to have somebody there. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Phoebe, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Jenny, take care. Jim, thank you.